wageni rasmi. Invite the chairman of ZATO, Zanzibar Tourism, Dr. Ali Hussein Mzee. Ninakuomba sana uongee neno na ufuate protocol kuwatambulisha wageni wengine ambao tuko nao hapa. Asante sana.
Habari za asubuhi. Salama. Nzuri. Wale ambao hawajui Kiswahili inabidi mjifundishe Kiswahili, kwa sababu mmefika katika kitovu cha Kiswahili. Maana tunasema Tanzania ni kitovu cha Kiswahili. Mimi natoka kwenye asili ya Kiswahili, maana kule Zanzibar. Naitwa Hassan Ali Mzee, ni mwenyekiti wa ZATO ambaye pia ni co-chair wa FESTAC Africa. Nimesimama hapa kuzungumzia utaratibu mdogo na utaratibu wetu ambao wa kuweza kufanikisha shughuli yetu. Kwanza namshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kutujalia uhai na uzima kufika salama, na Mungu ametuletea neema ya jua ambalo lina uvugu, yote kuonesha kwamba ni rehema ambayo anatupenda sisi. Wengine walitegemea kwa na makoti, tunaona sio wengine ambao tunaweza kutabiri hali ya hewa. Umeona tunavyovaa, tunajua kama hali ya hewa inakuwa nzuri, kwa maana kwamba mambo ni mazuri. Historia ya FESTAC inafahamika, wengi mnaifahamu, ila kikubwa tunatakiwa kuendeleza na kuitunza, na tusichoke kuizungumza, iwe kama ni elimu kwa sisi wa leo na kesho na kesho kutwa, na tuiendeleze kwa njia yoyote. Tujitahidi kwamba tusiweze kulifanya tukio hili life, tunatakiwa tuliendeleze. Tulilianza Zanzibar mwaka jana kwa Tanzania, na lilifana kweli na lilipata baraka za kweli, na mwaka huu tumefanya hapa Arusha. Alhamdulillah, tunaona na tutaenda vizuri. Sisi Waswahili, na kawaida ya Swahili kuna maneno mengi, sasa tukipewa hizi maiki, lakini mimi sitaki kuwachosha, kwa sababu hii maiki kwangu mimi itakuwa inaenda na kurudi, kwa maana kwamba kwa sasa nitamuomba na watu wawili ambao nitawapisha hapa kuja kuzungumza kabla ya mgeni rasmi, kwa maana kwamba nitamuomba Profesa aje azungumze na sisi machache kwa mnasaba wa shughuli yetu, kisha baadaye pia nitamuinua chairman wangu wa FESTAC aje kuzungumza naye pia machache kwa mnasaba wa shughuli yetu, kisha baadaye nitamuomba mgeni wetu rasmi kwa niaba ya mkuu wa mkoa wa Arusha naye atupe nasaha zake chache ili tuweze kuendelea na shughuli. Wale ambao hawajui.
Asante sana. Kwanza kabisa naomba niwashukuru waandalizi wa hafla ya leo. Vile vile naomba, kama tunavyosema siku hizi, ni fuate itifaki ambazo zimewekwa tayari, ili nisiwaudhi wachache ambao sitawataja, ikiwa ningependa kuwataja mmoja mmoja. Nakubaliana nanyi ya kwamba ni muhimu tuikuze na tuienzi lugha ya Kiswahili. Kwanza, inakubalika kama lugha unganishi katika bara la Afrika, na vile vile ni lugha muhimu kutupa hadhi kama Waafrika ya kwamba tuna uwezo wa kuwasiliana kupitia kwa lugha ya Afrika. lakini pia ni jambo la kingwana na busara kutambua ya kwamba kuna wenzetu ambao wamepita mabonde na milima kutoka katika sehemu mbalimbali na labda si weledi sana katika lugha ya Kiswahili. Na ili wajisikie nyumbani, mtaniwia radhi nizungumze kwa lugha ya Kiingereza ili na wao wajisikie kwamba wanashiriki nasi. Hiyo ndio ungwana. Hiyo ndio ustaarabu. So, thank you very much. I was saying that as much as I recognize the significance of Kiswahili language, it is also wise to recognize that we have in our midst men and women who have come from different parts of the world and who may not be very comfortable with the Kiswahili language, and for that reason I'll communicate in the English language. The great Nigerian Chinua Achebe, writing in 1958, said that the English succeeded in stealing everything from us, and still they did. And that the only thing that we have taken from them without stealing is the English language. And to the extent that we can deploy it to communicate amongst ourselves, that is something that we ought to do. So we should never apologize. In fact, as we celebrate culture and art, I know many of you will know James, who used to be called James Ngugi wa Thiong'o, but of course he dropped the name James. In his book, Decolonizing the Mind, Ngugi wa Thiong'o tells us the value of using African language. What I would encourage is for us to give pride of place, not only to Kiswahili, but other African languages. If you can speak Yoruba, speak it well. If you can speak Igbo, speak it well. If you can speak Kiswahili, speak it well, but we have made the conscious decision that we need a lingua franca, and that lingua franca for the continent of Africa is Kiswahili. And it gladdens my heart that Kiswahili is now a language that can compete with any language in the area of technology, in the area of science, and wisdom demands that we give it pride of place. The history of FESTAC is known, but on an occasion such as this, it is important to remind ourselves what motivated those who are in the early days in the forefront of celebrating African art and culture. It is important to recognize individuals such as Senator Leopold Sedar Senghor, because it is Leopold Sedar Senghor, Aimé Césaire, and others deriving their motivation from great such as Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, who said that we as Africans must now celebrate our culture and our art in order to give meaning to ourselves. And this was informed by what had happened several years before, which we repeat often because it is necessary to repeat it. It is necessary to repeat that slavery was designed to humiliate and to humiliate Africans in a manner that was designed to dehumanize them. And if you have had the occasion of watching the dramatization of the life of Kunta Kinte as written and narrated by Alex Haley, you will remember so very distinctly one of the things that they did to Kunta Kinte when they had taken him outside of Jufre village in the Gambia, was to take away his name. And you will remember in the dramatization, they beat him so very badly, asking him after every period or session of caning, what is your name? And he kept on saying, Kunta Kinte. And he kept on saying, Kunta Kinte. And after several hours, he said, I'm talking. It was an act of surrender to the slave masters. But it did not stop there. When he got married, the first child, he went and carried the child, if you remember the dramatization, facing the sun. And he said, never ever forget that you are Kunta Kinte. So, in a manner of speaking, when Leopold Sédar Senghor sat and said that we must have FESTAC, it was to remind us that the attempt at humiliation and dehumanization did not succeed. And it did not start with Leopold Sédar Senghor. It had started a little earlier with individuals such as Marcus Garvey in Jamaica with the Black Star. Said, let us go back. And it was carried on by Sylvester Williams of Trinidad and Tobago and the many Pan-African movements that took place in the 19th century. And it was not only in the African diaspora that we were talking about African culture. As early as 1906, a great South African whom we do not remember as often as we should, Pixley Kaisaka Sen, delivered an iconic speech at the University of Columbia in the United States of America, the speech titled The Regeneration of Africa. And in that speech, Pixley Kaisaka Sene reminded his audience that we come here to remind ourselves that our continent needs to be regenerated. Because he remembered that the continent had been abused. She had been abused and divided when the European powers, in their diabolical scheme, sat down in Berlin, in Germany, in 1884 and 1885, and divided the continent. To the Germans, they gave Tanganyika. They gave what is now Namibia. They gave the Cameroons. They gave Togo as their hunting ground. To the Portuguese, they gave another hunting ground. They gave Cabo Verde. They gave Angola. They gave Mozambique. They gave Guinea-Bissau. To the Spaniards, they gave Equatorial Guinea and Sao Tome. To the Italians, they gave Libya, and they gave part of Somalia. To the Belgians, they gave what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo. To the British, they gave Sierra Leone, they gave Ghana, they gave Nigeria, they gave Kenya, they gave Uganda, they gave Zambia, they gave Malawi, they gave Rhodesia. And they went on and on. To the French, you know what they gave. La Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Mauritania, Benin, Togo, Dahomey, Gabon, Central African Republic. And they did not stop there. They went on and gave to the South African, the apartheid group. They gave South Africa. And they gave Namibia a little later. That scheme was a scheme at dehumanization and humiliation. They told us that our languages were primitive and you were not allowed to speak them. They divided our continent into Francophone, into Lusophone, into Anglophone. They divided us. You could not speak your mother tongue. You could not dance the way you dance because those were primitive, they said. They said that our gods were not gods. They say that our marriages were not marriages. What did they not do to dehumanize us? But the African is resilient. She withstood slavery, whether in the continent or in the diaspora. Whether they were in Jamaica or in St. Kitts and Nevis, or in Trinidad and Tobago, or in Antigua and Barbuda, or in Costa Rica, or the United States of America, or in different parts of the world, they remained alive. And the culture never died. Even in Colombia, even in Brazil, even in Argentina, where they almost killed all the blacks. So when we started regaining our political independence, culminating in the independence of Ghana in March of 1957, we never forgot to remind ourselves that there was work to be done. And this is how I understand those immortal words of the Osagie for Kwame Nkrumah. Seek ye first the political kingdom and the rest shall come. This is how I understand the Osagie for when he reminded us, you must neither look left or east nor west, look forward. This is how I understand great leaders such as Julius Kambarage Nyerere, who reminded us that education was only of value if it made us to realize ourselves. This is how I understand greats such as Modibo Keita of Mali, or Amilcar Cabral of Guinea-Bissau, or Kenneth David Kaunda, or Samora Moises Machel, or Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, or Nelson Holisa Mandela, or Andy Mbahaman Toivo, reminding us that culture is the very foundation of our being, giving meaning to the Kiswahili saying, Mwachamila ni mtumwa. So FESTAC is designed to remind us that we are, and that Africa is the cradle of humanity, and that all human beings, wherever they are, came out of this mother continent. And that what defines us is our culture. It is our music. It is our dances. It is our artifacts. It is our philosophy. And that indeed culture and art is in the foundation stone upon which science thrives. History has demonstrated not once, not twice, that science never grew other than out of the soil of art and culture and philosophy. So when Senghor came out with the negritude movement, it was beyond sentimentalism. It had depth. When the early writers started talking about culture, when Achebe was writing in 1958, things fall apart, and giving pride of place to culture. When Wole Soyinka was writing Idandre, when Shaban bin Robert was writing Kusadikika and Utubora Mkulima, when Flora Nwapa was writing Efuru, they were giving meaning to African culture. And that is what was being celebrated in Dakar, Senegal in 1966. The idea was that FESTAC would become a permanent feature of African life and lives. We know that it did not happen as it ought to have happened. We know what happened, that in 1967 it did not take place in Lagos, Nigeria, as it ought to have taken place. We know it ought to have taken place again in 1975, and it did not. But in 1977, over 56 nations, which host the Africans, were represented at Surulere Stadium in Lagos, Nigeria, and at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Square. I can remember, even as a Form 3 student, the beautiful music that came out with Osibisa, with Luambo Luanzo Makiai, with Tabule Rochero, and I particularly like Rochero's collection featuring Adeito. Africa was assembled in Lagos, Nigeria. And today, when we are gathered here in Arusha, in the United Republic of Tanzania, we are, in a manner of speaking, receiving the baton from Zanzibar, which injected some necessary steroids, if you may, to ensure that FESTAC remains alive. So today we are here in Arusha to rededicate ourselves, to the realization that our well-being as a people not only requires but demands that we must celebrate our culture, that our well-being as a people requires that we give meaning to our culture for this generation and generations yet to be born, that our well-being demands of us that we must not look at culture as something that is fossilized in history, but something that is alive, alive to be celebrated in its different ways. So I hope that today, when we are gathered here to celebrate FESTAC, we are reminding ourselves that going forward, FESTAC shall have connection with our men and women in the arts. That the great film industry that has emerged in Nigeria, known as Nollywood, will see wisdom in collaborating with FESTAC. That is not only Nollywood that will do so, but Bongowood here in Tanzania will do so. That is not only Bongowood, but Riverwood in Nairobi, Kenya. And that we shall also have South Africans participating. Today, you may or may not know but Nollywood produces more movies in a year than Nollywood and Bollywood. It is one of the leading industries giving meaning and pride of place to our culture. I look forward to the day that our diverse cultures with over 6,000 languages spoken in the continent of Africa, with the beautiful clothes and items which adorn our men and women, that those clothes will be given pride of place under FESTAC, and that those clothes will no longer be made in the Netherlands and in Belgium. They'll be made here, and they ought to be made here. I look forward to that. I look forward to the day when our bags, which are used by our women, will no longer be made by Louis Vuitton in France, but they'll be made in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. I look forward to the day when our perfumes will no longer be made in Paris and Switzerland, but they shall come out of Tanzania. I look forward to the day when our women will no longer wear wigs of white women and white ladies out there, but they shall adorn their hair with pride in celebration of our culture. I look forward to that day. And I believe that that can happen here under the aegis of FESTAC. So FESTAC is here. It may have been that for a long period it was not moving at full throttle, but when you are here in Tanzania, a country that I love to know, the home of Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, that great man, that selfless man, this is the right place. So let FESTAC revolve. But let Arusha be our home. Let Arusha be the true north of FESTAC. And you know, Tanzania has done many things that we must celebrate on a day such as this, as we celebrate FESTAC. Tanzania has given meaning to order. They have demonstrated that you can have democracy of your own, which produces Nyerere, who like a good dancer knows when to leave, and invites Ali Hassan Mwinyi, who like a good dancer knows how to leave, and invites Benjamin William Mkapa, who knows when to leave, and invites Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, who knows how to leave, and invites John Joseph Pombe Magufuli, whom God takes, but allows Samia Suluhu Hassan to come in, who, as you say in Tanzania, anaupiga mwingi tu. So we are here today to celebrate culture. But I'm reminding us that culture must be seen beyond mere celebration. We must look at the commercial angle of culture. How many trillions of dollars? I look forward to the day when I talk about money, I'll no longer talk about dollars, talk about how many trillions of Afros. I look forward to the day when we shall have our own currency, and I shall be talking about trillions of Afros can be generated because of culture. I look forward to that day. I look forward to the day when culture shall be commercialized. You know, those of you who travel, you are told that the bazaar market in Istanbul, in Turkey, receives 90 million visitors in a year. To see what? Nothing. But nothing has been made to look like something. Those of you who travel know that there is a metal piece which rises to the sky called the Eiffel Tower. Tens of millions go there to visit it, to see what? Nothing, which has been made into something. Yet we have things which we can actually make to attract people here. Yet we don't do what we ought to do. We are co-authors of our own misfortune. The time is now for us to give meaning to those things so that museums such as this can be the mecca of those who want to understand African history and culture. It can be done, and it must be done. And therefore, it gladdens my heart to be present in this assembly, knowing as I do, that we have men and women who have traveled from different parts of the world, men and women of African extraction, all the way from Costa Rica, to come and be here with us. May God bless you. I know there are those of you who have come here from the United States of America. May God bless you. Amen. Those of you who are not present here, but wherever you are, whether you are in Australia, you are in Brazil, you are in Belize, you are in Grenada, you are in St. Kitts and Nevis, you are in Trinidad and Tobago, you are in Antigua and Barbuda, you are in Fiji, you are in Jamaica, you are in all those distant lands where the African diaspora is. Wherever you are, we know that you are with us in spirit. And when the spirits unite, it gives birth to pride. And when pride is not affected by arrogance, it is a good thing. And those of you who are not of African extraction by dint of your color, also remember that Kwame Nkrumah said, you are not an African because you are born in Africa, but you are an African because Africa is born in you. And therefore, you friends of goodwill from the Federal Republic of Germany, you are also welcome to the extent that you have come here to support our African cause. So, fellow Africans, let it be that from today, leaving this place, let the message go out. Let the message go out to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, when the heads of states and government will be gathering in Kwame Nkrumah Hall this week. From tomorrow, the 23rd day of May, and when on the 25th day of May, they celebrate 60 years since the founding of the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union. Let them pause, and let it be that the speeches that will be delivered will not be pro forma speeches written by speechwriters. Let it be that they are speeches that come from the depths of their hearts, from the inner sanctums of their minds, and let some of those speeches be delivered in Kiswahili. Mama Suluhu Hassan, I know others may let me down, but don't let us down. Let your speech be delivered in Kiswahili, that it may be made known to them that we have a language which going forward is going to be the lingua franca of communication to the rest of the world. I look forward to the 25th day, and I look forward to FESTAC, borrowing from that spirit. Wisdom now dictates that I stop, because wisdom requires that one knows when to stop. God bless you.
Kwa namuomba mwenyeji wetu, mkuu wa eneo hili, asimame kidogo atusalimie. Unajua, naweza mkaa pahala mwenyeji mwenyewe katukaribisha vizuri tu, lakini kanye hamjui kama huyu ndo mwenyeji. Kwa hiyo at least mkimuona naye mnapata baraka zake.
Na wasalimu kuna salamu ya nchi yetu ya Tanzania kwa niaba ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Alafu tunasema kazi iendelee. Kwa hivyo nawasalimu kwa salamu ya Tanzania, tuseme kazi iendelee. Karibuni sana. Mimi naitwa Christine Ngereza kutoka Makumbusho ya Taifa, na hapa tulipo tuko makumbusho ya taifa ya elimu viumbe ambayo inahifadhi na kutoa elimu kuhusu urithi wa taifa, urithi wa Afrika na wa dunia wa kale na wa sasa. Kama tulivyoeleza kwamba Tanzania ni mojawapo ya Afrika, ni chimbuko la binadamu, na makumbusho hii inaonyesha ni mahali ni mojawapo ya mahali pachache sana ambapo utajifunza chimbuko la mwanadamu. Tanzania na sehemu nyingi za Afrika zimetoa shahidi nyingi sana kuhusu mwanadamu ametokea wapi, pamoja hata na wanyama wa kale. Chimbuko la dunia, Tanzania ni mojawapo na maeneo mengi ya Afrika yametoa ushahidi wa chimbuko la dunia. Tanzania ni mojawapo ya eneo ambalo limetoa madinosaria mengi sana, lakini kwa bahati mbaya wa Tanzania wa Afrika hawajui urithi wetu. Kwa hiyo ni jukumu letu kwa kweli kuwaeleza watoto wetu na kusimamia kwamba hii ni nchi yetu, hii ni bara letu, tunahitaji, tuna mali nyingi na hii mali tuitumie na tuirithishe. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Natural History Museum, one of the national museums of Tanzania. Here we preserve and give education about past and present cultural, environmental of Tanzania and the world in general. Here is where you can see evidences of human evolution. So we welcome you all. We welcome to the museum. We welcome you to Arusha. We welcome you to Tanzania. We welcome you to Africa. Karibuni sana.
Karibu Tanzania. That's about all I'm going to say in Swahili. I've been here now, I think collectively or consistently the last 3 years. So I picked up some words. The food. I got the food down. I got the kidogo, pole, pole, sawa, sawa. All the double meaning words. Those are the beautiful ones. I've got all of them down to pat. This is a good day. This is a great day. I am extremely happy to be here, because this thing that you see here that just look like a soft thing is a lot of years of getting all of us to where we are. And I think Prof has done a good job of analyzing or talking about where we came from. This thing started almost 60 years ago. Again, as Prof said, 66 happened. In the early 60s, late 60s, most of you know some of the issues on the continent. All right? And then we kind of scatter it to 1977, which was 77. I was a teenager. I participated in 77, and 77 stuck in my head forever. And 77 was a huge renaissance of Pan-Africanism. And guess what happened? We allowed it to fall again. 45 years later, we brought FESTAC back in Zanzibar, and we said this thing will not die again. So as a retired engineer, I'm actually not a cultural background guy. I'm just an ordinary engineer. But the passion is there to understand what we need on this continent to move forward. And this is a legacy project. It's a project that is needed to get us to where we are going. I'm not going to go into the history because I think Prof did a wonderful job like that. I wish I have his passion, in delivering some of these things, and I'm practicing. I've actually told him he's going to be here again next year, and I'm going to be just like him when I'm speaking here next year, because he's going to be here too. But I think it's important to let everybody know what and why we created what we created. Because I think that's more the message that I like to pass on to everybody. We have done a renaissance of FESTAC, basically to utilize it as a platform to bring togetherness on the continent. Because culture speaks, and that's why we're using the platform. And the platform is beyond just culture, because there's a lot of other things that tie all of us together. I have spent at least maybe 2 visits to Chief Obasanjo in Nigeria over the last 2 months. And there are 2 things he said that gave me goosebumps and also got me to keep saying, let's keep going. And I'm going to quote him. He said, young man, do you think you guys can do this thing? Do you think you can handle it? I said, yes, sir, we can handle it. He said, but this thing is big. I said, yes, we know that, sir. But we have to start from somewhere. Because when you did it, you had the state behind you. And Prof said it. In 1977, Nigeria spent a lot of money with all the statistics that Prof said. And the legacy of 77, I don't need to go into details, you can get all of that on Google, into what that did. But there's passion in there to continue into what we are doing. And he said, but you know what, young man, you guys are doing 2 things that we didn't do in 66 and in 67, and I applaud you for that. So I said, what is it, sir? He said, number 1, you including children in what you're doing. And I looked back and I said, wow. Because today, if you talk to most people younger than 45 or 50 years old, and you tell them what is FESTAC, some of them will tell you it's a bus stop, it's a police station, right? Because that's all they know, right? So he commended us for that, and we saw that in last year in Zanzibar, we brought about 200 children in coordination with Destination Imagination and Milele Foundation that we did STEM education for in Zanzibar. And those kids have that in their mind today, carrying them forward. This year we are going to do some more stuff. That's why you see the children around. Not only are we going to talk to them from the angle of education, we also know we need to catch them with sports. And that's why you have our friends from the Bundesliga, from Shakhtar Sports out of Germany, and from Mainz 05. They are the ones coming here to help us with the kids that have soccer as the passion to do soccer. Now, the beauty of what we are doing, we are not only saying focus on playing the game. Playing the game will happen, but not all of us are going to have great skills to play in the big league. So while we are teaching the kids to play the game, we're also teaching them the business side of the game, because not all of us will play the game. So there's going to be the soccer, there's going to be basketball, because we see those as very 2 great sports that our children would love and can gain a lot from. And of course, for the big guys and girls that play golf, we have your own game also, so you don't think we don't like you. We're leaving you out. So there's also golf, and the wonderful Kili Golf. Kili Golf is just at the foothills of Kilimanjaro, one of the best and hardest golf course in the world. And there's going to be 3 days, 2 days of professionalism, 1.5 days of professionals, and 1.5 days of amateurs. So the reason why you see us put sports in is to also use that as a platform to draw people into where we are doing. The second thing Chief Obasanjo said after the children, he said, but you guys are doing something really smart. You included trade in what you are doing. And I replied to him, after being fortunate to have been on maybe 80% of African countries, and I know at least 10 words in most languages in the world. I mean, I can say it in Chinese, I can say it in Swahili, I can say it in Twi, I can say at least 10 words. Some of it I just thank you, I want some food and all those things. So I can communicate, basic communication in most languages. And the whole idea was, once we communicate better, we will trade as people. So while this platform is soft, while you see a lot of activities going on that is soft, the whole idea is to teach us how to come together and to network. because we don't do enough of that. So to encourage the business side, we included a lot of pertinent issues that can help us grow on the continent today. Number one is the climate change initiative. And we have Dr. Apollo, all the way from the US and via Nigeria, to come and talk to us on climate change initiative. There's nothing bigger than that today in the world. A lot of our positives and issues are from climate change. Migration, people that are used to live a certain way. The world is getting warmer and it's affecting all of us. And if we don't talk about it, the world will leave us behind. You know, people say Africa is the future. No, Africa is not the future. Africa is today. We are today. And we need to know that. If we know our worth, our land mass, our minerals, our people, our brains, and our youth, if we know those things, we will know that actually we need to be the one leading and mining those things for ourselves. So there's going to be 2 sessions on climate change initiative. I encourage a lot of you to participate in it. There's a lot of value you will see in it. Actually, it's just like the dot-com movement of about 20 years ago. When the dot-com happened, some people were like, this thing is not going anywhere. So what happened? A lot of companies did not get involved in it. A lot of companies made a lot of money. Africa was left behind. Climate change is going on now, and they are calling something green bonds, green funds, blue bonds, blue funds. We don't even know what those things are. We need to know, because those are the things, the monies of the future. And if we get left behind, it's for us to blame ourselves. Number 2, the diaspora energy and the diaspora power. A lot of our children live in different countries around the world, and they remit a lot of money back home. We need to understand how to enjoy the benefit of those things and use them to grow our economy. I'll give a big kudos to the Kenya Diaspora Association. Kenya is probably the leading country in diaspora remittance based on per population. And of course, Nigeria does a lot of wonderful job also. And I encourage all our countries to set up departments to focus just on diaspora remittance, because that can really, really change the economy of the nation. So let's not lose that. We have another session on diaspora. That's 1.5 days on diaspora discussions. People that understand banking, how do you bring the money in? What do you do with it? How do you create jobs from it? How do you move your economy? They are here to give you information. Let's not lose that. Number 3, diversity in leadership. A lot on our continent has been male-dominated in a lot of our businesses. We are leaving a population behind, the women. And they always said that actually, it will be better if we just one day we wake up and we make all the presidents women. Yeah, I said it. Make all of them women. There will be less war. There will be more compassion. People will think before they do a lot of things. So we want to involve our women not only in politics, but also in business. Because when you look at, a lot of times you are in corporations and you are in a room and you are talking of an issue. Some of us that are extrovert, I guess that's the word, right? And you have a situation you are discussing, you want an answer, you want to move on. A woman in the room is saying, hey, slow down. Have you thought about this? It's like, oops, I did it, right? So there's a lot of value. We don't want to lose that. There's going to be a lot of work on that. There's another thing that we are doing on Thursday. Africa oozes luxury. The professor talked about Louis Vuitton. I didn't want to make the mention of the name, but I'm making it as a point. A lot of these luxury brands get their products from Africa. Louis Vuitton, the people in the leather industry are mostly from East Africa and maybe Nigeria and West Africa. And we don't even know the value of what we have, and we are not making the best of it. So there'll be some work on the business of luxury. There's also be some words in blockchain technology, so we understand the impact of blockchain. Peace. There's no way we can talk about our continent if we don't talk peace. I'm glad my friends from UNIPGC are here. Welcome. Thank you for coming. We have a session to talk about peace initiatives. We need to approach peace issues, just like everything else, to really move the numbers on the continent. I mentioned the Gulf, and yes, when we were talking about this coming together, we said, okay, we got to do culture, entertainment, sports, but when you come to somebody else's country, you have to get them with something that can really give them memories. So guess what we did? We brought you the great Leswanyika, my people. For the people that don't know Leswanyika, if you are from West Africa, that's the high life, 60 years ago music of West Africa. They are the music of East Africa. And they have started almost 50 years ago. The band is actually out of Nairobi right now, but they are here to show you guys how to rumba. I was, Zua is over there, is the lead. I was actually planning to compete with him tonight when they are singing on the stage. So they will be singing over there at Via Via tonight, and they are here with us this week just to bring the memories back, because the brand was formed here in Arusha. I've mentioned our people with the sports. Then we have the guys that are here from African Film Institute, and they are a body of AU. They're also going to be bringing movies of around Africa. Prof said something earlier about that. There's Nollywood, there's Riverwood, and there's all this wood, right? They're just wooding everything. But Nollywood alone is bigger than Hollywood and Bollywood. So imagine if Africa has one wood, okay? Rather than you going after 20 million people, you are going after 1.3 billion people. That's the way we need to think. That's why we are using this platform, to encourage all those woods to come together with us through FESTAC Wood. We don't make movies. We are not interested in making movies. But we want to wake everybody up to togetherness. That's what we are doing with it. If I keep going, I will talk forever. I just need to thank some people that have contributed to where we are today. I'd like to thank the country of Tanzania for opening their door and giving us some wonderful people that are available. I mean, some of them will call me anytime, and when something happens, some ladies at home, I'm calling them at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and I'm not comfortable calling you. They say, no, call me, because this thing needs to be done. So I thank you very much for being dedicated into what we are doing. And I thank the RC office, because the welcome we received here in Arusha is how you are able to see today happen. Unfortunately, the RC is in Dodoma, so please pass on my message to him, that we appreciate him very much, and we can't wait. So what he needs to do is to make sure he doesn't go to Dodoma this time next year. Okay? So he can be here to talk to us. Kenya Diaspora Association, please take the love back home to Dr. Shem. Wonderful job. Thank you very much. NIDCOM from Nigeria, Madam Abike, please send the love back to her. Lotus Bank, thank you for coming all the way from Nigeria. You can see what we are building. It's going to do nothing but just grow. Shakhtar Sports, much love. You are here. We're going to be doing a lot of things around the continent. We've started a lot of things already. We have a program we've done some things in South Africa. We've done something in West Africa. We're also doing some things in Kenya. And we're about to start something here in Tanzania that can be perpetuated and continued. And if any one of you is thinking about using sport as a platform to develop your nation, Shaka is there working with us and the Bundesliga to bring value to you. CBAC were the people that have the artifact from 1977. Thank you very much for your support. TANAPA, I can't thank you enough. Tanzania National Parks, they have actually donated 1,003 tree seeds. On Thursday and Friday of this week, anyone that wants to go and plant a tree in Arusha, so you can say you have a tree in Arusha, and you can proudly say you are from Arusha, because there's a tree with your name growing here. You are welcome to go with us. They've donated the trees to us, They've showed us where we're going to plant. Yours is just to come along. We have the vehicle to take you. It's not going to cost you anything, but it allows you to be part of Tanzania through Arusha and leave your own legacy. Ngorongoro, I can't thank you enough, my people. Your support is wonderful. Thank you very much. Rwanda here, you guys are beautiful. We called on you. It's interesting, I have to say this, because Rwanda is not the biggest airline of the continent, but they are nimble. When you talk to Rwanda here, they are quick, they are fast, they react to things. We appreciate you. Our prayer is with you to even continue to grow. We wish you the best. Orange, thank you very much for your support. Maasai Festival. We actually brought Maasai Festival in because we are in Maasai land. And we also think it's important to show the love for Maasai land as the Maasai Festival is going to be happening here. Zato, thank you very much. Our media friends, Newsroom, SABC, RT, NTA, Guardian, and on and on and on. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a beautiful week. Guys, we are partying until Saturday. I'm getting a little energy now. I'm going to sleep today because I've been working. So I can party with you every day until Saturday. Let's go out there, celebrate who we are. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the chairman of FESTAC Africa.
Asanteni sana. Jua linaanza kuchoma kidogo. Mkoa wa Arusha aje azungumze na sisi machache ili aweze kutupa ruksa ya kuendelea na mambo mengine. Karibuni Arusha kwa wale ambao ndio walikuwa wanaingia. Kwa hiyo na baadaye tutawapa hadithi ambazo mmezikosa kwa kuwa mlichelewa.
Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Wanafunzi sijasikia. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Asanteni sana. Asante kwa niaba ya mkuu wa mkoa wa Arusha. Mimi nichukue fursa hii kwa kweli kuwakaribisheni sana katika mkoa wa Arusha. Kwanza kabisa tumshukuru sana mgeni wetu maalum Prof. Lumumba. Kwa kweli tunamshukuru sana na nafikiri wote mmemsikia, tumeona hotuba yake aliyotupatia. Lakini tunaushukuru pia uongozi wa FESTAC. Tunamshukuru Prof. Lumumba kwa sababu kila tunapomhitaji ameweza kufika bila udhuru. Kwa hiyo tunamshukuru sana kwa kuweza kufika hapa. Lakini niwashukuru viongozi wote wa meza kuu. Niwashukuru wageni wote ambao mmeweza kufika katika mkoa huu wa Arusha. Karibuni sana. Tunaamini mmesafiri salama na Arusha ni mkoa salama. Hivyo tunawakaribisha sana katika mkoa wetu wa Arusha. Tunawaahidi mwapo Arusha mtakuwa salama na hakuna shida yoyote ile. Kwa hiyo mjisikie kama ambavyo mko kwenye mataifa yenu. Nimesikia tumepokea ugeni mkubwa kutoka mataifa mbalimbali. Niruhusu tu niweze kuyataja kwa uchache. Kuna watu ambao wametokea Costa Rica, kuna watu ambao wametokea, kuna Lesi Wanyika, kuna Rwanda, kuna Ghana, kuna Nigeria, kuna Kenya, kuna USA, kuna German na mataifa mengine yote ambayo naweza nisiyataje yote, lakini tunawakaribisheni sana. Karibuni sana. Siku hii ya leo ilikuwa tuweze kuwa na mheshimiwa mkuu wa mkoa, lakini kwa bahati mbaya amepata udhuru. Hivyo tumeweza kumwakilisha, lakini hakuna kitakachoharibika. Nimepata taarifa tamasha hili la Mwafrika litafanyika kuanzia tarehe 22 mpaka tarehe 26. Niombe kama ambavyo mgeni maalum ameongea, lakini pia mwenyekiti wa FESTAC naye ameweza kuongea kwa kirefu na viongozi wengine wote ambao wameweza kupita wameweza kuongea. Twende zaidi ya tamasha. Kuna vitu vingi ambavyo tunatakiwa kuviongea ambavyo tunatamani viwe zaidi ya tamasha hili la Mwafrika. Na bahati nzuri sana sisi tamasha hili limekuwa likifanyika kwa namna moja au nyingine kwenye masuala ya utalii, ambapo nafikiri mmeweza kuona Mheshimiwa Rais Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, ameshiriki kwa kiasi kikubwa katika Royal Tour. Nafikiri mtapata taarifa zake kadri ambavyo tutaweza kuendelea kukiongea katika siku hizi zinazoendelea. Kwa hiyo ni tamasha moja muhimu sana ambalo sisi kama mkoa tunaahidi kuunga mkono kwa kiasi kikubwa ili liweze kufana na kufanyika vizuri, ili hata kipindi kingine basi liweze kufanyika katika mkoa wetu wa Arusha. Niwaombe tu ndugu zangu wanahabari, tuendelee kulitangaza tamasha hili kwa wananchi wote ili waweze kulifahamu na waweze kushiriki kikamilifu. Na katika tamasha hili niombe tu tulitumie jukwaa hili kama tulivyosema, tulitumie zaidi ya tamasha la Mwafrika. Twende mbali zaidi. Tumekuwa na changamoto ya mmomonyoko wa maadili, sio Tanzania, tunadhani hii ni Afrika nzima. Kwa hiyo nidhani tutumie pia tamasha hili kama kuwa na tafakuri ya namna gani ya kuweza kukabiliana na changamoto hizi ambazo zinatokea katika maeneo yetu. Lakini hotuba nyingi zimeongelewa. Wamesema tutakuwa pia na masuala ya mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Nadhani kwa wale ambao ni wenyeji wa mkoa wa Arusha, saizi hapo utakuta ni mvua kubwa inaendelea. Lakini kwa sababu ya changamoto hizi za mabadiliko ya tabia nchi, naona mpaka sasa hivi kipindi ambacho cha mvua, lakini mvua sasa sio nyingi, sio za kutosha. Kwa hiyo tuitumie fursa hiyo, tutumie tamasha hili kuweza pia kupeana uzoefu. Kuna watu wametoka katika mataifa mbalimbali ambayo naamini uzoefu huo tukiweza kuweka pamoja, basi ni wazi tutakwenda nasi kufanya vizuri. Inawezekana basi tukaweza kutatua changamoto za mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Mimi binafsi nisichukue muda mrefu kwa sababu mambo mengi yameongewa. Hata mimi bado ninatafakari maneno ambayo Profesa Lumumba ameyaongea. Ni maneno ambayo kwa kweli kimsingi tunayapata kwa watu wachache. Lakini naamini kuna siku zinazokuja hata simama Profesa Lumumba, watasimama watu wengine. Sasa wanasimama namna gani? Ni kwa sababu tunapata pia vitu kutoka kwa Profesa Lumumba. Kwa hiyo tuvitumie tukijua kwamba kuna siku Profesa Lumumba hata kuwepo, tutakuwepo sisi. Viongozi wa FESTAC hawatakuwepo, tutakuwepo sisi. Na ndio maana tunajaribu kualika hata wanafunzi ili walau nao pia waweze kupata hivi vitu ambavyo baadaye vitakuja kuwasaidia. Niwaombe tu katika kipindi hiki cha kuanzia tarehe 22 mpaka tarehe 26 tutakuwa na mazoezi mbalimbali yatakayoendelea. Na zoezi mojawapo ni pamoja na uchangiaji wa damu. Hivyo tunaomba wananchi jitokeze katika kuchangia damu ili walau tuweze kuokoa pia maisha ya ndugu zetu wengine wote. Basi kwa hayo machache, nadhani sio mengi. Kama mkoa niseme tena, sisi tunaahidi kuiunga mkono tamasha hili na tunaamini litafana. Na kwa swala la usalama, msiwe na wasiwasi. Mkoa wetu ni salama sana. Hivyo tunahakikishia na mambo yatakuwa mazuri. Basi kwa hayo machache niwakaribishe tena Arusha. Karibuni sana. Muenjoy Arusha. Basi kama kuna changamoto yote, tuna mifumo mizuri ya kuweza kutoa taarifa na mambo yote yatashughulikiwa kwa wakati. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiliza.
Asante sana mheshimiwa.
Hii kwa kweli ni kwa ajili ya mchango mkuu ambao profesa anatupatia wana wa Afrika na dunia nzima, wa kutuhamasisha tupende chetu, tujue thamani ya urithi wetu. Hii sanaa ni sanaa ya tingatinga ambayo imeanzishwa Tanzania. Mwanzilishi wa sanaa hii anaitwa Saidi Tingatinga. Kwa hiyo ni sanaa ya asili kutoka Tanzania na ni sanaa ya Afrika na ni sanaa ya Mwafrika. Tingatinga. tinga tinga art. Hapa ni wanyama, ni abstract, wanyama wanazungumza, wanapiga hadithi. Na this is tinga tinga art originated from Tanzania. The founder of this art is Saidi Tinga Tinga, so the art is named after him, and this is Saidi Tinga Tinga. Na hii ni hadithi za Kiswahili ambazo zinatumia illustrations za tinga tinga. So this is Tanzanian stories using tinga tinga illustrations. And today we are going to give this hadithi. Tuna vitabu, Makumbusho ya Taifa ina program ya kuhamasisha watoto wajue hadithi za Kitanzania na wasome vitabu. Kwa hivyo baadaye wakiwa wanakunywa soda, we will give them this book to read. Hapa watasoma hadithi, alafu wataviacha tena hapa vitabu.
Thank you who are here. My name is Advocate Mantula from South Africa. Another name is Azania. Azanji people, the land of the blacks. In South Africa, the month of May is Africa Month. We have declared the whole month, and the 25th, we are still lagging behind of putting it as a public holiday, Prof. Lumumba. And as you have said earlier, it is important when they meet in Addis Ababa, they need to speak in their African languages. The other message that we are giving is that 60 years ago, the founding father of the Organization of African Unity, Haile Selassie, who has visited all these countries, who has worked with Walimu Nyerere, he has worked with many leaders in Nkrumah. He said this way: we have come together to assert our role in the direction of world affairs and to discharge our duty to the great continent, whose 250 million we live. Africa is today at mid-course in transition from Africa of yesterday to the Africa of tomorrow. Even as we stand here, we move from the past into the future. Very important ways that came from the founding father in 1963, as we are in 2023. The role that was raised of Jamaica, the role of the Rastafarian movement, the role of reggae music in popularizing Africa Liberation Day, Prof. Lumumba. I get worried when people say Africa Day, when actually the day was born out of 15 April 1958 in Ghana, when it was known as Africa Freedom Day. And it changed in 1963 to be known as Africa Liberation Day. Hence, it is important for this Festival of the Arts to bring this consciousness of cultural revolution, cultural renaissance. As we spoke about Pixley Kaseme Isaac, we have Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, we have Bantu Biko, we have Onkupose Abraham Tiro, and all those names I'm mentioning, whenever Prof. Lumumba visits South Africa, he touches on those gallant fighters that are hardly in the pages of our history. For the young people of Tanzania, it is important to know the history of the African continent. And through the arts, through culture, through storytelling, through poetry, through exhibition, that's how you learn Africa. Through film, that's how we learn Africa. And as we said, the sixth region of the African continent, the African diaspora, it is important that we also infuse in terms of curriculum. Decolonizing the mind, it also means the curriculum and the media. The role of the media is very important in covering Africa. The media covers Africa in a very negative way in some instances. The media covers the conflicts in the world more than in Africa. The media covers the Ukraine, Russia, but they can't cover Sudan. They can't cover Somalia. They are not able to cover the conflicts that are in Chad. So it is important what we call media diplomacy. And I think the final message also is on sports diplomacy. How do we work with sports, arts and culture? And that's where the role of South Africa has been. How do we use the power of sports? We are having the World Cup of Women. The netball is coming to South Africa. South Africa also will be hosting the diaspora meeting in October. Again, there's a meeting that's happening in Lome, in Togo, the Pan-African Congress. So Tanzania is a founding member of the OAU. It is important that you need to set aside 25 May as a public holiday. The same like South Africa, it is important to set aside this day, and also this festival must be supported by all government ministries. Coincidentally, the Ministry of Arts and Culture in Tanzania, they are in South Africa to celebrate Africa Week, because we call this week the Africa Week. So I think giving this message of support and also giving thanks to the speakers and to everybody who has been here since yesterday during the launch, our artists, our drummers, our children who are here, our elders coming from Kenya, the land of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the land of Dedan Kimathi, the son of the fertile soil, Prof. Lumumba. We are grateful and we are honored for you just to tease us with your knowledge. We want to also thank our brothers coming from Tanzania, Arusha, the city of agreement, but Africa is in the city of disagreement now. We want to thank our brother from Zanzibar, a tourist site, for coming and giving us what they have done last year. We want to thank Mama from the museum. There was celebration of International Museum Day on the 18th of May. We hope that your museum was also part of the global celebration of International Museum Day. We want to thank the chairperson also for bringing all Africans from near and far to this meeting of minds. This is a festival of ideas. Let us all interact, connect in different languages. Let us also smile, because when we smile in Africa, there is love. But if we have serious and screw faces, it seems that we are in a war. So when we smile, there is love. So let us all create this one love that Robert Nestamani spoke about. He spoke about Africa Unite, for the sake of those children who are there, for the sake of these young daughters who are here. As I say, asante sana, realeboha, nijasota beseka. Asante sana.
Thank you so much for all the guests of honors for the beautiful and inspiring speeches that we just had a few minutes ago. I would like to take and confidential Vice President IPGC USA. He came along with his wife Barbara Roberts and the daughter Jasmine Roberts, together with all who came along with him, His Majesty Bishop Dr. Peter Kojo Sakay, United Nations Associations of Ghana, President Patron. Also we have His Majesty Ambassador Stephen Kojo Sakay, IPGC, Africa Special Envoy USA, Headquarters USA. Also we have Diplomatic Special Assistance of High Commissioner. Please welcome.
Okay. What is your penetration in Africa in terms of West Africa? Okay, which is the penetration? The Maghreb, the Arab world against the Sham el Sheikh. So they are always like that. Okay, Professor, thank you. Utaniangalia vizuri unichore kisha tuwasiliane.
Our development we have brought over here. So FESTAC Africa, our aim is that each country should have one there, and we should have different nationalities over there in Numbi. And they are facing all the PLOs are facing the same thing.
Let me give my mail.
Please,
and you
I will need your business card too.
Yes, I'll give you my business card.
Where's next?
Ni kama historia, ni kazi ya mwako, kama historia ya uganga.
Afrika ni
tofauti, tuna tingatinga,
Tayari
tuna Masai,
tuna Masai, tuna fine ya kutumia visu ile.
Of African Culture Celebration, you can take a special tour to our national parks that are located in Arusha, like Ngorongoro. We have Arusha National Park, where we have our sponsors, our partners, together with our guests of